Yes, guys, welcome back to the Instant Reaction and welcome back to 3 Point Lane. Welcome back to We Won the League at Anfield. Welcome back to North London is Red. Welcome back to London is Red. Arsenal have won the North London derby and that feels so good. So good. Unbelievable win. 1-0 away at Spurs. No Odegaard, no Marino, no Rice. Against the best manager of their modern era. They are tin pot. George.
What a game, man. What a game. Honestly, I'm set there and I don't know, man. There's something about a team making you proud on the day. And that's just what I feel. Like I just sent a really quick tweet out and I'm like, there's time for tactics and then there's time for being a fan. This is a fan. You enjoy it. You enjoy it. It's a derby win. It's 3-3 at their place. They are beyond washed. Beyond washed. It's ridiculous. An entire midfield, an entire starting midfield is out. You're unable to win at your home ground. What does that say to the league? So many good performances. You know, it's not even just Big Gabriel in terms of the goal. I thought William Saliba, oh my God, in terms of that type of performance. David Raya, the way he steps up in that game, unbelievable. And I don't know, I'm just so proud. Honestly, I don't really have too much of like a objective way to feel right now because, oh my God, we did it. We gave ourselves an opportunity to go into the City game with confidence. We sat here and we got away and we did what we had to do. Done. Job done.
Tick. Bhavs?
Oh, that was beautiful. That was lovely. What's the saying they had when they beat us a couple of years ago? Was it dare, dream, done? Yeah, done.
Yeah.
You lot are done as well. Done as a club. 3 wins in a row at White Hart Lane? What's it called? Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. The Arsenal Stadium now, man. That was a fantastic win. And it was designed as well. Designed to a team, man. Soak up the pressure, wait for a moment, take opportunities, and see you out. You're at home. You lost 2 games against Arsenal in a row. You couldn't even score. How pathetic. Pathetic.
New £65 million striker, absolutely bodied. Mate, and what I said this at halftime, like, this is a team performance. This is, and like mate, I'm sure there are other projects, but we must be, as a group of players, one of the most bought-in group of players in the world in terms of all going into one game plan. If we're just speaking tactically, like a little bit, and I want to go back to the vibes, but like stuff like Saka's tracking of runners inside to help out Ben White on the right-hand side, Martinelli and Trossard on that left-hand side. There was a moment where you saw it at the end where Sterling isn't quite in it yet.
No,
and he's gone forward and he's done his thing and he's classically gone to the bottom. I don't want to focus on negatives, but he's wasted a chance. And then you can see the whole team absolutely at 85 minutes, and he's only just come on. He's going, "Oh, I've got to run back, have I? Yes, mate. You're at Arsenal now. You're at Arsenal. This is what we do.
Yeah.
This is who we are, mate. This is who we are."
Yeah, and you can even see Jesus swapped over as well because they were attacking the right-hand side more. So he's like, I'll go there instead because I know I can do it.
Yeah,
Timber was huge. Timber was huge throughout the match, man. And you know what?
What a player.
I just think like the composer, and he just gets what it means to be down and dirty.
He gets it.
He just gets it.
You know what? He grabbed this thing. I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Oh my
God.
God.
Don't mess with me, bro. What would you be coming to my face? Get out of my face, man.
And you know what? I thought that Trossard quietly had a very good game down that side.
Agreed.
The amount of times that, Martinelli sometimes had a little bit of wasted chances every now and then, but he was bright. He was pushing. Trossard filled in where he needed to go. There was a lot of group dynamics here that I think it just showed the team. If you look at Arsenal, you see a team. You don't see individuals. And while we may cry for X Factor moments and we might go and sit there and say, listen, we need something else in terms of the attack, I'm sat there saying, when you see a team performance like that, you're just proud, mate. Like, you're proud of that. And in terms of a coaching performance, Nicolas Jover on set pieces, which we knew Tottenham would be struggling with set pieces, you just knew that he would get an opportunity to go and sit there and make, when that comes in. It's incredible. It's incredible.
It's unbelievable. Bosh! Come on! You want some? You want some?
You don't get in his face, man. Do you know what I mean? That's how it is. You don't get on my face like that. I'll mess you up, bro.
Unbelievable. It just feels so good. And it feels so, because I've been sat on podcasts with Spurs fans or, oh, Van de Ven's better than Gabriel. I'd have Solanke over Kai Havertz. Shut up. Know your place.
I was told by
Know
Spurs
your
fans that
place.
5 Spurs players get into the Arsenal side.
5.
5. Yeah.
You couldn't beat us with our entire first midfield
Who are
out
they even missing
at
apart from
your
Bissouma?
stadium. And you're
Disgraceful.
trying to be in the Champions League.
Disgraceful. Absolutely
Did they have,
disgraceful. And they can
did they
hold
have
that as
one
well.
big chance? Did they have one big chance?
Only impresses. I think Solanke got one crossfield
He
header
gave
in
them
the
the
first
best
half.
chances,
That
yeah.
was about it. Then other than that, second half was a clamp job. I just thought, you know what? Look, the whole team deserves massive praise because I just feel like at the beginning, the team were finding their feet. The one thing I wish we had more people fit because, mate, pressing Van de Ven was there. The few times we did it, he panicked. I don't know why people are sitting there saying Van de Ven over Gabriel. The most ludicrous thing I've ever heard in my life. That guy has less composure when he's going, when there's a kid in like a candy shop. It was ridiculous. The guy could not compose himself. He couldn't play the pass out from the back. I felt like Vicario lost his head. The ref had a mare in general. The ref had a mare in terms of everybody had a yellow card. He was just brandishing yellows for everybody. And I just felt like we really controlled the match. There's moments like this in the last 2 years. Someone does something stupid and we get a red card and we lose that game. That's the biggest point of difference that I can see. And I sit there and I trust this team. I trust it. When when Saliba gets a yellow card, I'm like, okay, he'll be good for the rest of the match. When somebody gets, I feel the trust in the team to compose moments, and you can just see that Spurs team doesn't. They don't.
Yep, absolutely. And Bav said it earlier, but like this was coached. This was coached,
Designed.
and this was managed, and this was designed.
Yeah.
The way that the spacing in the block, the blocking, like, and someone like a Jorginho. But by the way, people act like Jorginho has never won a duel in his life. It's not his biggest strength, but he actually did win a couple of duels today, which I think was decent. But his main strength is blocking lanes. If you just watch him inside, Maddison drops out the block and Jorginho is just shuffling over. There's no space. They get out wide. Saka jumps over. Everyone jumps over. The working for each other in that block is I've never seen anything like it. It's absolutely unbelievable. I will say I think like we could have made a little bit more of the transition. I think there was a couple of times, but also credit to Spurs. They knew that that's what we were trying to do. So I think they tried to block us doing that. I thought Havertz had a decent game knocking stuff on. But look, ultimately, we're not sat here going this was the greatest footballing on the ground, breaking teams down performance, even though we did do that a couple of times and got in behind them, by the way, even in the state we're in. But this is a performance where you go, look, here's what we have to do. Here's the limitations we have. And Mikel, before the game, you could see it in his eyes. He was going like, it's exciting. It's not exciting for fans. And I was saying I'm incredibly nervous. I don't enjoy this. But for him to go, this is exciting, to show a different side to us, to go on the transition, to sit there, to accept, 40% possession, to try and beat teams on the transition, to go on set pieces, to slow the game down, to trust that at minute 70, minute 60, wherever it happens, that opportunity will come. And that is maturity. This is the marker of it. Gary Neville, no oohs, no at any point, and no narratives about Arsenal other than fair play. That's when you know, because Gary Neville's not trying to force any. He's not going, I think Arsenal. He's just going, look, they look really mature. And when Gary Neville's saying it, he said we look like a title-winning team who haven't done it yet. And that is absolutely how I feel.
We do, because we're willing to do things that other teams aren't. Especially big sides. We don't have to stick to our philosophy every single game. Especially when you got Spurs away and City away, and we're in a title race. Go get the result. We can play our football in against Leicester and teams like that. Go get the result. When Odegaard's back and Marino's back, we'll play football. Then we know we can play football, but can we get the results? Can we get a clean sheet? Can we win 3 in a row? And the answer is yes. Yeah.
Our away form, George, like I think I'm right in saying that's 10. So it's 10 games. Or maybe that's 11 games. Nine wins or 10 wins over it is now. And we haven't in 2024. So the one draw was away at the Etihad, and we haven't been trailing. No. In a single game.
Yeah. And we were any 2 goals
away from home.
2-3 goals.
Mikel Arteta, like genuinely away from home. It's I'm sure that maybe this has been done before, but we must be approaching some kind of record. It's unbelievable.
Look, it's reaching the point where I think people sit there and they look at Simeone and he's made a career out of it. And, I think it's because Arsenal have that prestige about being such a beautiful football playing club that it doesn't compute. That somebody is so dominant in the one thing that had plagued them for so long. And that's just not something that we're ever going to get the credit for. I mean, we are the best out of possession team in the world, hands down. There's not a team that I feel is more confident in terms of winning their duels, in terms of understanding their assignments. Mate, I know we talk about moments and an attack because that's really fun, but the way this team gets back, and in terms of in transition, how 9 players are behind the ball, the speed to which we do it is unlike anything in the world. And that's what gives us the platform to sit there and be able to go and dominate and be able to sustain pressure. It really is about controlling those transitions. And, you know, I saw a stat on the timeline. Do you know that there's 2 players in the league that have every game so far got a goal and assist? Erling Haaland and Bukayo Saka.
Yeah.
And this guy doesn't get the praise that he deserves. He is an elite player, mate, an elite player. And, you know, I look at this team and I say, what do you need? What do you need to take the next step? And right now, they've always only needed to believe their own hype. That's it. Really. If they're going to sit there and they're going to understand that they belong, because last year was just about proving to themselves that the year before wasn't by chance. Now they feel that they belong. And there's just a level of, I feel, finally the bench providing a way for us to feel secure. Mate, an entire starting midfield didn't line up today away in a North London derby.
Plus Calafiori, plus Tomiyasu, plus
Calafiori.
Zinchenko, plus
We had a bench of Cabia, who I know none of you guys know.
I don't know.
Yeah, Aiden Heaven, MLS. You've got Ethan Waneri. You had Jesus and Sterling.
I think
Curry as well.
two of them have played for Arsenal before. 2 of them, Ethan and Jesus.
It is. I don't think people realize we have an injury crisis. People seem to want to ignore that and just say you're expected to win away at your biggest rivals and just say that's normal. It's not normal.
But what I love is that Arteta, and he might feel it internally, but what I love is he never uses that. He's like, we still need to win no matter what. Let's have a look at the stats. So these are the stats from Scott Willis on X. Thanks as always. I don't know if Scott knows how famous he is on this.
I don't want to see the next stat.
Okay, yes. So those are the numbers. Just have a little look. So 0.7 expected goals to 0.7. Again, all things considered, is crazy. 4 shots on target to their 5. 3 open play shots to 12. They had a lot more of the possession. They had a lot more passes. We'll come to that number in a second. Final third entries, they were way more than us. But again, this shows our defensive security and how we did that. There's the running XG, which you can go have a look at in a second. There's the field tilt. It's unfortunate, but listen, we go to 3-point lane and we take 3 points. So I don't really care. These are the passing networks.
Anymore.
Exactly. Let's look at the passing network. So this is through the first substitute for both teams. You can see the importance for Arsenal of Bukayo Saka as that kind of outlet. Yeah, I think we maybe could have done better getting Martinelli a little bit in behind. Kai Havertz, I think we'll come to each individual performance as well. We'll come to Saliba and White as well. But those are the passing networks as well. Let's come to and Spurs is rubbish. Oh, Van der Ven's better than Gabriel. Shut up. Let's come to individual performances. Bhavs, you start us off. Who do you want to take?
I think Havertz. Was outstanding. Honestly, I love this performance. It was so industrious. It was making stuff out of nothing. And in a game like this where we're playing deeper and we're hitting it long, he was winning so many aerial duels. And if you look at the passing networks there as well, you can see straight away that he's helping Saka out quite a lot as well. And that's very important, especially with no Martin Odegaard. I don't think we missed him that much today. You know, of course, he's a very important player, but Havertz did so well today that it made me kind of forget that we were missing someone at times. And I think the way he was able to make something out of nothing, his hold-up play, one-touch play, even for the goal we scored, the way we won the corner was Havertz was running in behind towards Van der Ven, holds him off, plays it off, and then we go and get a corner from that. I think it's fantastic.
George, who do you want to take?
I have to do Saliba. For me, that just stood out. You know, made the amount of times, and yes, so this is a little bit of an Ange thing. It is too much to say that after a yellow card away, how do you compose yourself? How do you sit there and still play your game? It's a testament to who he is as a character. It's a testament to who he is to us. He really is irreplaceable. I don't know somebody in world football that can give you that level of composure and that level of thrust from the back line. People are afraid of him. They have given up
Absolutely.
trying to press him. And right now, not only does he do that, he's a one-man transition controller on his own. And that's not even getting into the Gabriels, the Ben Whites, the entire back line who deserve their praise. But it's just, he was another level for me today. And the way that he was able to carry out of pressure after winning it, taking responsibility, still making runs into the final third, despite making a tackle. He wanted it. There was just a level for me, one of his best performances that I've seen in a while from William Saliba.
And he always steps up in these types of games. I don't know. There was a moment where Ben White, I think, got pressed or something. The ball broke to Solanke in the box. There's no other centre back in the world who covers that well. I'm sorry, there isn't. It's unbelievable. 2,150 you're watching live, which is crazy. Thank you guys so much. Make sure you like and subscribe. Thanks for being here. Relevance, thank you for super chat. Every team is aware now. Once Arsenal scores, it's over, except they get a red. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a number now that we haven't. I think it's like
1 loss, 7 draws.
And then is it since the beginning of 22-23 or something like that? There's a crazy number about us going ahead. It's like 1 defeat in like 3 years or something at this point. It's crazy. Thank you for super chat. Full Chanok Udom Tana sub. If I got that right, you become a member. You become a Patreon member as well. Thank you for becoming a Patreon member. And Coach Lance, how seamless when fit in. Yes. Bhavs, you want to talk Waneri?
Yeah, man. I think I wasn't surprised because I know how good he is. But in a game like this, and obviously Spurs away, you'd think maybe off the ball he might struggle. And I like the fact that Jesus moving centrally as well. But it was that little thing right towards the end where Son's open up space to take a shot, and he's there to block it. And I think that's what mattered the most to Mikel Arteta. We know Waneri is fantastic on the ball. He's got that natural talent to go forwards and impact. And he could have had an assist if Bhavs was onside as well. But it's that off the ball work, and to just make that little block is obviously in the final few minutes. It was just a little example that he's ready off the ball as much as he is on the ball.
Yeah. What I love, there was a moment where they were all stood on the edge. It was like Ethan, Miles, and so Miles was coaching Jorginho. Miles was going, Georgie, do this. And I was like, but that level, and you can laugh about it, but the level of engagement there from the young players, being in the game, even though they're on the bench, and that tells you when they come on the pitch that they're sort of ready to do that. I want to talk Timber, which I think we should almost talk everyone. I want to talk Timber. I thought Timber was absolutely superb. Again, showed his credentials. I have a Liverpool friend who texted me in the middle of the game just going, Timber, what a player. And he never compliments any Arsenal players. That is, that's indication of what we're seeing. This is if he can lock down the left back slot, which is a big if because of Calafiori, and look at Gabriel's form, etc. That's a potentially player of the season. The left back slot in the Premier League isn't blessed with loads of sort of obvious candidates of being sort of the standouts. And during Timber, I don't know what he can't do. He tackles brilliantly. His technique's unbelievable. He can actually overlap more than I gave him credit for. Obviously, we know about his quality on the inside. He's tucking in. He can get out too quickly. He's decent in the air. He's strong. He's quick. Like, again, it's just one of these sort of ultimate. What's that? There was that phrase Mikel used about football recently. It was like but it was like something about the football as well. It was like no ceiling football or something like that. There's no ceiling on that player. He's absolutely unbelievable. I thought Timber was brilliant today. George, you want to take someone else?
I think I'll take Trossard. I just thought somebody that is not going to get the praise because all he did was fill in for others. And all he did was fill in gaps that others left. And I think if Gabriel Martinelli slots that home in the first half, we're sitting there talking about another game-breaking moment from Trossard to feed him in and feed him through. And he just does a lot of the dirty stuff in attack. I thought that, Bukayo was definitely well defended by Spurs, still always a threat. I think Gabriel Martinelli, he struggled in decision-making in moments, but Trossard for me seemed to be the one that was so on it in terms of the press coming back. If Gabriel Martinelli was up, he was right back in the left wing position. And, that's why for me, he gets starts. I think people look at that left-hand side and say, listen, we want more in terms of maybe a greater dribble, a greater moment on the ball, individual brilliance. But the way that he fills in for people out of possession is why that side works, why you see a Timber, why you see a Gabriel Martinelli, or why you can see Kai constantly favor the right and no longer really drift to the left. I don't know if you noticed, but really Kai is able to sit there on the right and maintain his position there and interplay with Saka, who he's developing a relationship with, because he trusts the left to be filled in. He doesn't have to go and sit there and make selfless runs. And he's a really important player in terms of our ability to maintain our shape.
Yeah, He's terrific. There's, I think, someone in the chat just referred to him like Santi, and there is that ball through to Martinelli. Just that it was sort of between one player here and one player there, and he just slotted it through. It's unbelievable. I want to give credit to Jorginho. Look, we know Jorginho has limitations. He was obviously cramping up at the end, but again, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, in terms of the off-ball work, he's not going to do you in a duel, but his positioning is unbelievable. The way he sits in the block and sort of dictates things, his communication. And I also think there's a couple of times where he was getting right up the pitch. He was getting involved in the press when that called for it. And he showed some legs that we haven't seen in a long time. I think for someone to come in out of the cold, the last time he played for Italy was in the Euros, sort of when they went out in the summer. I don't think he's had played any minutes for us. So to come out and pull out 90 minutes at a stadium like that, in an atmosphere like that, as I was about to say, leading this team. George said about Trossard, these are why these players get minutes. This is why Arteta trusts them. This is why midweek I was going, I know exactly what Arteta, I know what I'd do. I'd have Saka at right 8, and I'd have one area, and I'd do all this sort of stuff. But what Arteta's going to do is he's going to rely on Jorginho and Trossard because he knows that that's what you're going to get. So credit to him.
Mm-hmm. No, fantastic. And also, I think in terms of that seniority, obviously, Mikel's always gone for the experienced players when injuries have happened. We've actually got good senior pros now. We didn't start Sterling or Jesus, but Jorginho's the best example, as we can throw him in there, and he's experienced enough to not just obviously have the experience just for the name of it, but he's also got the ability to play and play in a massive game like this. And I'm always confident with him in the side. But obviously next week we're gonna have Declan Rice back as well, which is fantastic out of Man City. But fantastic performance from him. I think Partey was all right as well. Of course, at times he gives the ball away, so likewise Jorginho. But I think overall we did well as that pivot. The attackers helped quite a lot, because that midfield there at times can give the ball away. They can be loose in possession. But with Martinelli and Saka and Havertz dropping back at times, it helped him out and gave him security. And, just the insurance that every time you lose the ball, where you got Saliba behind you, you got Saka next to you, they'll drop back. And even Ben White had that as well. At times, I think it was a bit of a poor performance, but that doesn't matter because the rest of the players will still turn up. And whenever he got beaten by Son, Saka was just next to him.
Yeah, and I think on the losing the ball point, I was thinking about this. I think because we're not used to playing on the transition, if we were a team and played on the transition, we'd be a lot more used to it. Because when normally we know our wingers are high and wide, we know exactly where Odegaard is, we know exactly where Kai Havertz is, we know exactly where centre backs are. So you get the pass accuracy like that. When you're in transition and players are running everywhere, you are going to lose the ball a bit more. So I'm not saying it's okay to lose the ball because he did lose the ball quite a lot. But equally, we need someone who is going to be a bit more aggressive. He's going to be a bit more gas pedal. So yeah, I thought it was a good performance. I'm not coming away going, oh my God, Thomas Partey, but fair play to him for what he did. George, some of the attackers, maybe let's get to them.
Attackers. I mean, we've gone through probably everybody bar Martinelli. Really. And it's tough because I thought he was our brightest attacker in the first half. Didn't make the ultimate. Yeah, I thought he actually had a really good interplay with Timber. I think him and Timber kind of have a little bit of a relationship there, and they kind of had some really nice bright moments. The thing is, I think he's overthinking things at this point, and we need to get him back to his instinctual side. Like if you try to control and coach Martinelli too much, you lose what makes him special. So we know what he gives you in terms of defensive transition, and we know what he gives you in terms of making sure that press works out, and how diligent he is in terms of tracking back. He did a lot of work today, and again, similarly with Trossard, there's a lot of work being done on the left to make sure that we could. Yeah, there's a lot of work done so that we can make sure the right has its moments. That is definitely a thing. But I thought he was really bright today in terms of his first touch as well. It was the final moment in the box that I think struggled. But I think his ability to take on, even that Trossard assist, he has a brilliant skill to get that under control in flight. Trossard kind of flicks it up into the air, and he does a really brilliant job about taking it in stride. I mean, I know Saka gets upset. I think he makes the right decision in terms of going for it there. Just wish he would have carried it a little bit further to open up the angle a little bit more for him. But that kind of speaks to his trepidation right now. He is a little bit second guessing himself. We need to get him instinctual again. And I think that's how he'll be fine. But everything else, I was really happy to see that he was positive. He wasn't afraid, and he didn't go back to recycle. He was very direct and probing, and I like that. So that's really good.
Yeah, I think when he went through, I thought, can he go near post? Because I looked at Vicario's positioning, and it's easy once you're looking at it at half time and you're going, okay, whatever. But could he go near? And I think Martinelli of sort of 2021, 22 might go, do you know what? I know the right thing to do is to go far posted, but I'm just going to go near post. yeah, it's an ongoing conversation and probably not one to have today. Lads, thank you so much for all your super chats and so on. Make sure you get your comments in. We'll come to as many as we can before we end the show. Nearly 2,800 of you watching live, which is absolutely mad. Thank you guys so much. SRYK Extraordinary Creation just became a YouTube member. Thank you so much, sir. Really appreciate that. Or madam, or anything else. Arsenal Adventure. Raya was the man of the match for me. Yeah, we actually didn't speak about that.
Yeah.
Raya
Fantastic.
wasn't necessarily called upon, but had
He was
a
so good.
decent save first half from a sort of
Yeah.
half cross from Kulusevski.
He had a couple of first half. There was the
Yeah.
one that
Sure.
Madison floated across the face of goal that Van de Ven's lurking back post that he sees pretty late. That was really good in terms of covering the back stick when
Claiming crosses.
Lanky. Yeah, he claimed a lot of crosses. I thought Raya was incredible today, and he showed a lot of authority. There was moments in the first half we struggled. One person we haven't said, I know we all want to be positive. I thought Ben White struggled today in general, like uncharacteristically. There was a couple loose passes, and I felt like there was some times that he let Son do him on the outside, and I think that he was a little bit, eager to go and meet him because he knew the threat of Son. But I think because Ben had a little bit of issue back there, Raya was really important about making sure that side got cohesive again, especially in the first half.
Yeah. I think it was key as well because I think the plan was early doors to just slow the game down, get it long, don't worry too much about the build-up, and then second half slowly fold into building up a little bit more, which I like from Raya. Chring Sherpa says, shout out to Bhavs rocking that durag. Come on, you Gunners.
We'll get George one soon as well.
we'll get Georgia durag. KD says Timber was as good as Saliba in spite of being in the left back. Yeah, I thought Timber was absolutely fantastic today. Get your comments and questions in. We'll come to as many as we can before we close off the show. People saying Gabby for man of the match. People saying, Mafia says Martinelli completed 6 out of 8 dribbles. Yeah,
6 in the first half as well. So
yeah,
fantastic.
it's really, really good. Beta Fox. People don't necessarily appreciate a defensive winger's success if they left some attacking stuff on the table, in my opinion. Yeah, that's going to take the headlines, but I think there's a reason Martinelli is picked ahead of Sterling, ahead of Jesus, ahead of Trossard out there, if that makes sense. It's because of the defensive work he does. And no one's suggesting that there isn't work to be done in the final third, but we've seen him do it in the final third. So, let's
It's very hard as well in the defensive third because you're not naturally a defender. So knowing where to be, who to track, how to switch on as well and concentrated, it's not easy. So you shouldn't take it for granted. And especially in big games like this, it's very important. And likewise will be the case against Atalanta in midweek and against Man City next Sunday.
Alex Osborne says, I think it's time to recognise Arteta is the modern day Jose Mourinho. Thoughts?
He's got traits. I think in these big games, you know why, for example, Gary Neville, I think you start to respect us a lot more is because we play like an old school side. We're not scared to, sit back and hitting deep blocks and hitting the counter attack. It's very Sir Alex Ferguson-esque in that aspect, where they can play their football, but in certain games that we saw against Arsenal all those years ago, they're not scared to sit back and rely upon their fast attackers to hurt you. And so in a game like this, I knew Mikel would go for this style, especially with Odegaard out injured and Rice out injured, or suspended. But that was the same case last season as well, when Odegaard and Rice were available. In these games, it's all about the results, not the performances. We don't have to go and make a statement. We'll do that at home. So away from home, go get a result, and I think I'm fine with that.
The quote from Arteta that comes to mind is the win in any context. And I can't remember when he said it. It was such a short answer. I think it was on Sky recently, and it was something like, "What's the lesson from today?" And he just went, "In any context, you win." That's all he said, and I was like, "That's it. That's
the word win." He called his dog win.
To win, have to win. This game was exhibit 8976 of why defensive solidity is the best foundation for any side, no matter the level of individual talent. Yeah, it's the foundation. And look, we want better attacking days than this, but with our you can say these words, but and we do this with City as well. Oh, they're the best Premier League team ever, and they're the best manager ever, but we should still beat them. No, guys, today we had our entire midfield out.
Yeah.
The whole basis of our off-ball work, the whole basis of our on-ball work was out.
Saying starting midfield is out and you win North London Derby away 3 for 3. We haven't done that even back in the Invincibles.
No.
It's a huge deal. And you know what? I don't think it gets spoken about enough that Ange and the entire club, by the way, everybody was saying there's no way that they lose 3 in a row. That hasn't happened. And
it's just who they are, mate.
It's just
who they are.
Just if someone can quote the meme, I think it's mate, and that's it. But in general, I have a look. I have a look at this team, and people keep saying how great we are at a possession, but people, they say this and then they want to critique things that aren't out of possession. Like, that's our MVP, guys. That is something that when we want to sit there and say, who is the identity of this team? It is the press. It is our ability to fill in for other people. And we need to make sure that maintains kind of the entirety of that's I'm trying to be serious.
You're just trying to do good technical analysis, and I'm just there.
That's what it's about. It's Derby Day, man. Let's have some fun, man. Let's laugh at our
L, mate.
friends,
Take
mate.
that L, mate.
Hold that.
Should we do a combined 11 of Arsenal versus Spurs?
Yeah, let's do it now. We should always do a combined 11 post game. That's always the most intriguing.
Yeah, let's get some of those Spurs guys on. Do some combined 11s right now. I mean, to be fair, but this is the thing. Is like, I don't think any of their players had a particularly poor game. I just think they massively overrate them. They watch them control a game and then they go, oh, right, well, that will translate against City and Arsenal.
Yeah.
No, it won't.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
No, it will
That's
not.
good.
Look at him. Look at him.
Okay, let's.
That's all, mate. Let's come to a few more questions before we finish. Thank you guys so much for being here. We appreciate it. We had nearly 3,000 people watching live, which is absolutely mad. So thank you guys so much. Let's come to City next, as Funby says. Or City
Atlanta
next. Well, City next in the league in Atlanta in midweek. Saka off, which is obviously a slight concern, but I'm actually less. He was moving around at the end, so I don't think it'll be a long-term thing anyway. But I'm actually less worried about that with Jesus and Sterling and Trossard and so on. And now we got Rice back. I'm less worried about that.
Mm-hmm. Of course, it's City away. It's never easy. And I think if we can get a win somehow at City away, then I think everyone will be very confident this is the year. Because that's one of the remaining blocks. Anfield away, City away. The two things we haven't done so far. Before it was Spurs away and United, and that we've done that. That's over. Let's focus on City away. Let's go on there. And we've seen Haaland yesterday. The guy's a robot. He's a machine. It won't be easy whatsoever. But the fact that we've got our defenders available, our back four available, and we're going to have Rice available again as well, I'm confident we can go and get a result there.
One area to start, George?
Atlanta, I would do it. I
don't think it's possible.
I think that when you're looking at what happens with City, that has to be the priority. I'm sorry. And you look at it where you can win all your home games and progress in the Champions League. This is important right now. And look, Atlanta is a very good side. Gasparini's got an incredible pressing structure himself. It will be a very difficult game, and it'll be a game where you have to run. And I think after it, look, one of the things is we had a lot of transitions in this match, but we were quite deep, I thought, in general, and we defended deep, so the distances were tight. So in terms of from a fitness perspective, I think despite us seeing transitions, there wasn't a massive wastage in terms of energy. There was a huge concentration, but I don't know about energy. And I'm looking at Atalanta, and I think that they've got a brilliant pressing structure. I think in terms of us, we're going to need to press. I'm worried about the legs, and I'm worried about the work that we'll have to do with the Etihad coming up then too. That's a very difficult fixture list. So for me, Mikel gets full freedom to do what he wants at that game. And there's very few times that I say, I think that we should let him have a free pass. This is one of those times in the season. That game at the Etihad is incredibly important. And we need to make sure that Rice and everybody is able to give their best performance out of possession against City.
We'll finish with this. A quote in from Arteta in his press conference just now. We have the power to make our people very happy. Hopefully we have achieved that. We suffered because we had to adapt. I loved it. Well, Mikel, we loved it too.
Suffered, guys.
North London is red, baby. F off back to 3-point lane. Actually, you were there. So we came to you, smoked through your backyard. Final words, boys. Any final thoughts?
Hold that.
Actually, yeah, just one more time. George, any final words?
Just brilliant. Enjoy the day, lads. Enjoy the day.
Go enjoy it. And Ange, hold that L, mate. Hold that L. Hold it. Thanks, everyone. And we'll see you next time on The Instant Reaction.
Peace.